Hello, gentle viewers. This is Indian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 22 with the St. Louis Cardinals. We have completed at this point. Three full seasons with the Cardinals. We've won a single pennant and got destroyed in the World Series. But we still have 7 seasons to go. And I feel relatively confident that we'll get at least one world title. Relatively confident. Obviously, I can't prove anything, but, it's entirely possible, and we'll leave it at that. So, we have... This is my favorite place to actually look at the team home screen and see what's going on here. A team with some interesting problems now that I certainly didn't expect to have 2 seasons ago. One of them, lefty is a 5th starter at best, and I really don't like using him because of this awful control rate. At best, he's a super reliever, but I probably want to trade him. In fact, I think that's the first thing I do before I do anything else with this team. Because Grove's national popularity is only considered fair, I shouldn't have too much of a backlash if I do trade him. And I'd like to hopefully get something for him, so we're going to go ahead and shop him around. I will take any position, any player, and maybe we'll also be able to fix the outfield that we have, which is a bit problematic. Okay. So the players we're getting back are not great choices in a lot of ways. And this is always going to be an issue, right? Other teams aren't idiots. They're going to realize as easily as we realize that he's way past his prime. So let's take a look at the options that are available to us. I'm not going to look at any relievers because we don't really need them. Third base is more or less solved with Willie Cam. It's really shortstop and the corner outfield positions that could benefit from some improvement. If we're being honest with each other, those are the 3 places I could really... Basically 6 through 9 in the order. Gabby Hartnett was still worth almost 4 wins just because he's a plus defender with a pretty good bat for a catcher. And while I don't think we're going to get a 1932 again, I very much think a 1931 is very possible. Heck, maybe even a 1930 where he just plays more games. Those both seem quite reasonable. So let's go back to our shopping of Mr. Grove. And I'm going to immediately, to save myself some time, I'm going to eliminate all pitchers. I'm just going to look at hitters. Oh, by the way, I really think it's kind of silly that I have to use another shop attempt when all I want to do is filter the results I've already got. This, I think, is one of the biggest problems that that OOTP just seems like they don't want to fix it, which is... making this interface work a little bit better for players. But whatever. I'm not that bothered by it. So if we're wanting to fix shortstop, our choice is someone even older than our existing shortstop who happens to be a brilliant defender. I really don't think that helps. So shortstop, can't fix it. So let's focus on outfielders. We have Ivar Swanson. Mr. Swanson here is a good contact hitter with reasonably good gap power. And he just hasn't gotten a real opportunity to show what he could do over the course of a season. He's a reasonably okay outfielder. He's a useful bet off the bench. In exchange for a starter that's just not going to do it anymore, I think he'd be a fair option. Sigmund has great power, but he only plays center. He's not very good at it. So that's not a great choice. Dave Harris is a pretty bad outfielder. And Coleman and Taylor don't really have anything that great. So the question becomes one of two things. One, I trade for Swanson. Swanson gets the odd at bat, off the bench, maybe he even gets a chance to start. It gives me more options, and it also saves me money. Not that price is no object right now, right? But I think that's a fairly sensible choice. The other option is to make Lefty Grove into a reliever, or just accept the fact that he's still going to give me a bunch of innings. I can do better than Grove. So I think we do go ahead and take Mr. Swanson here. You wouldn't throw in Harry... Oh, I can't get Harry Danning off of you. What a shame. Can I also fix shortstop? You wouldn't give me Joe Cronin for pretty much any price. I mean, I'm going to try. But friends, I don't even know what I could offer them in a million years that would get them to cough him up. Like, even if I offered Pat Malone, I bet that doesn't move the needle. Yeah. Totally fair. I mean, Cronin's fantastic. He's great at everything. Why would you trade him? I'm just going to make this deal. And it's a disappointing return, but it is what it is. And I think Swanson makes us better right now in the short term. Game, I know they want to retire. Stop bringing them back, please. I have a couple of interesting pitchers. I think Auker's going to get a chance to earn a rotation spot just because he doesn't have a lot of competition, to be honest with you. So he's definitely going to get a chance to earn a job in spring training. Draft-wise, I kind of wish we'd had a worse year. Because picking 12th, we're not likely to get one of the better players. The draft pool's official now, right? Yes. Like, it's like, oh, Cy Blanton. Blanton's going to get taken top 2 overall, I'm sure. George Selkirk, yeah, he's not going to fall to me either. We're probably looking at something in this range here. And while there's certainly value to be had there, it's hard to argue that there's anyone truly exceptional. Best case scenario might be someone like L.B. Fletcher. Someone who's super duper young. And might be a long-term replacement for Bill Terry when eventually he gets too old to play effectively. He's certainly not a home run because of his contact. That would definitely need to improve significantly, but he's also only 17. That's the kind of player that's probably going to fall into our laps at this point. There's also going to be at least a couple of decent pitchers by the time we pick, I bet. Maybe some of the lower tier outfielders. I mean, we'll see who's available. I wouldn't mind a guy like Tuck Stainback for a very important reason, which is that my backup center fielder sucks. Like, Phil Voiles is not good. I could move Roy Carlisle to right field and give him a chance. Alright, let's go ahead and advance up to Hall of Fame voting. Oh yeah, I actually have a fair number of reasonably good players. I totally forgot about Johnny Watwood being injured, but I still like the idea of having more depth in the outfield. Especially because Swanson can also be sent to the minors, so we can let him work on stuff if we decide that we don't want that. And really, it was more about getting rid of Grove than it was about adding anybody good. You'd better send my offers. Or else. What position did I even want you for? Oh, for Rookie League Manager. I'll tell you what, Mr. Dodge. I will offer you $750 a season, but if you don't take it, I'm not gonna compete with you if you're getting the offers that I think you're getting, which are probably like major league coaching jobs. We've got a better trainer. It's not going to fix all of our problems, but it's certainly not going to hurt. 67,800. Why though? I mean, I'll give you a minor raise to like 500, but you're not major league material. Who the heck is so desperate for this pitching coach? No, I'm not going to get suckered into a bidding war for a mediocre coach. Like, I agree that Davini is probably the best pitching coach that's here, but I would stick a guy like John Wood, who's almost as decent. I'll offer you the job as manager, and then I'll offer a new hitting coach. There we go. Yeah, honestly, Hollis is clearly the best of the possible hitting coaches. I'll offer you 600, and if you don't take it, I'm not gonna fight for you. Fred Hymock got an award for reliever of the season. Well deserved. The thing is, like, these are rookie level coaches. It's not likely that this is going to break anything. So we're going to do Sam Lever, and then we're going to do... I'm going to try Harry Cheek. He's probably going to turn me down, but we're just going to see. Oh, you know what the issue is? I'm not hiring people that don't have jobs. So I'm actually also competing with their own teams to keep them. There we go. A Silver Slugger for Tony Piet. Makes sense. I got Lever. Sawyer got a better deal from someone. We're eventually just going to come down to bad coaches, unfortunately. At least I've finally filled out my coaching staff. I do know there's a lot of staff cohesion issues here. A lot of it seems to be Rip Reagan. No, we have too many normals. I mean, I could just fire my GM. I think that would fix a lot of issues. But I did decide to do a new deal. I want to see how we're doing once the actual season starts and see if this is just they need to get to know each other better. Because I really like the coaches that we have in terms of how good they are developing people. But we'll see. Maybe there's an easy solution. Hall of Fame voting time. I'm going to keep going for Johnny Bates. I don't think it's going to work, though. I think he's going to keep getting overlooked. Max Carey? Ty Cobb, what a loser. I'm not going to vote for him. Just kidding. That's a pretty easy choice. Jack Coombs and Doc Crandall. I kind of like Crandall a little better. I'm at least going to give him a shot. Art Fletcher. I'll toss a vote his way. I don't think it's going to matter, though. Shoeless Joe seems like a pretty easy choice. I'll vote for Dutch Leonard. I don't think he'll get in, though. But we'll try. It is downright absurd that Roger Peckinpah is not getting in already. Like, I know he's not perfect, but he's a very good candidate. And I think he's kind of a slam dunk. Wait, his career is -9, and he made it through the initial screening process? How? Like, you're demonstrably a terrible player. This is why baseball has a screening process. Like, there's people that aren't even considered. Like, come on, bro. I will vote for Fred Snodgrass. Bill Steen, I think, is worthy. And I think Heine Zimmerman is a pretty clear slam dunk candidate. It's 11 people on my ballot. I think I'm good. I mean, I guess that's good news. We're a better team with Furpo Marbury as an option than not as an option. Nope. I broke it. I did it again. Sorry. There you go. Only got 57 players in the draft. There's a very clear top pick. In fact, the Cubs would have to be pretty stupid to pass on him. So I'm going to auto draft just for Chicago. Apparently, they're pretty stupid. I'll auto pick for Boston. They go for George Selkirk. Augie Gallen. Rudy York? Zeke Bonura. Here's Cy Blanton falling at 7. That's, to be quite honest with you, ridiculous. Really? Were the other teams just that badly in need of pitching? Or hitting? Oh man, I was actually thinking about Denny Galehouse. Oh well. So here's what I have to choose from. A collection of reasonably good starting pitchers and some unimpressive hitters. And I mean, based on where we're picking, I'm not unsurprised by that. So here's the risk. If I take Tuck Stain back, if I take one of these starters, these top 5 starters, is Tuck going to be around when I pick in the second round? Because I really like him, and I think he would be a useful player to have access to. So Bill Lee is a potentially excellent starter, more than a replacement for Lefty Grove. OSA loves him too. I love him. He seems like a pretty solid choice. Johnny Babich is younger, but basically has a very similar skill set. He's got less stamina and he's got fewer pitches. Slick Castleman. Again, I can't really go wrong with you either. I could pick Paul Dean. I mean, he was a Cardinal. Well, his brother was. No, because, yeah, Daffy Dean was a Cardinal, too. He was just never as good as Dizzy. But I don't like his stamina. So I'm sorry that there will not be a Daffy Dean on the Cardinals. He's pretty smart, but he's got kind of a garbage pitch. I'm probably going to take Bill Lee. I know he's 24, but that actually works in his favor, in my opinion. None of you are lefties. Babich is a good choice, too. But I think I take Lee. Done. Okay, Stainback is still here. He serves a very important purpose. I'm going to choose him. I could also take in Slick Castleman, but whatever. Ray Bennis is a really, really good defensive catcher. He could be a decent backup. So I'm gonna go ahead and draft him in the 3rd round here. Whitey Wilshire, sure. I don't really care at this point. So I think we've more than replaced Lefty Grove as a starting pitcher. I think we've upgraded. And we'll have Eldon Walker as an option. We have tons of options now because of this draft. We've got 2 potentially opening day players on this roster, which is fantastic. Anyone I need to try to keep on the Rule 5. If people want Brandon, they can have him. I'm even going to make Blair open. I just really can't be bothered with keeping either of them. There's not really an upside to that. Anything I'd want in the Rule 5? Okay, so I think my left field solution, I'm going to go ahead and have a platoon between Cook and Swanson, where Swanson plays against left-handed pitching and Cook plays against right-handed pitching. And just see how that works out for us. I mean, if there's a good outfielder or a good shortstop to be snagged in the Rule 5, I'll do it. And our bullpen isn't so great that I couldn't use a bit of an improvement there either. But I'm not necessarily desperate for any position in the Rule 5. Shortstop. Connolly's okay, but I'm not really excited about that. My good friend Hod Ford. Meh, there's nobody here. Oh no, not Footsie Blair. Admittedly, he's a decent first baseman. He's not a brilliant one, but he is pretty good defensively. I'm not really gonna complain. Cobb, Jackson, Zimmerman, Steen, and Peckinpah. I'm good with all these choices. They all seem to me to be very worthwhile Hall of Famers. This is a real travesty of justice, and I know why he's not getting in, and it's for the stupidest of reasons. And I keep remarking on this, but it never fails to impress me how very bad Hall of Fame voters have been at weighing on base average. Like, they've consistently been awful at it. And I'm not blaming OOTP. This is an accurate reflection of how I think a candidate like Johnny Bates would actually do. Because he's not hitting for big hit totals. He never won a batting title. He just got on base. A lot. And was reasonably fast. And I think he more than deserves his place in the Hall of Fame. But I don't think he's ever going to get there. So, whatever. Cobb and Jackson were easy choices. Heine Zimmerman seemed pretty easy too. Steen's fault, quote unquote, is that there's so many freaking amazing pitchers in the Hall of Fame that he looks bad by comparison. But this is an extremely respectable starting pitcher. who basically never gave up home runs, kept the ball down, and got a fair number of strikeouts in his prime. That's solid. And yes, Peckinpah got the shortstop bump, but he was also genuinely a useful hitter. He was someone that at one point had an amazing bat. Like, check out this 1919 season. That's pretty spectacular. All things considered. And then there's all the gold gloves. And he very clearly deserved them. For his career, he was worth almost, 480 wins is like 482 runs, like 48 wins. That's how bloody good he was with his defense, just by not being a dumpster fire. So, tip of the cap, deserved it. Not gonna question it. We're gonna go up to spring training. I mean, again, my budget is pretty much Monopoly money anyway. I give you $11 billion. Holliker is now becoming a much bigger issue. I do not want Ben Pascal. Nice try. Is there a good shortstop to be had? I mean, I could probably get a guy like Tommy Thieve now for cheap. But I'd like some level of offensive production, though. That's apparently too much to ask. And the thing is, I've already got a guy like that. I've got Emmett McCann. No, actually, Emmett McCann's not as good as shortstop. Okay. I'm gonna try to acquire I'm gonna try to acquire Mr. Thieve now here. Would you like this guy? Apparently you will. So I'm just going to go a boop. Right. Bill Lee, spring training. Stainback, spring training. And then we'll see how the rest of you do. Pitching, do your thing. Lineups, do your thing. I really need this to stop, game. I need you to stop looking at someone who had an amazing season and decide, yeah, but he's not as good defensively. At a certain point, I would like you to stop, game. I would like it to end. Please. This obsession with playing for defense only. So, Piet, I'm going to force you to be my everyday second baseman. and then I'm going to regenerate. Okay. If he's tired, you can bring in Frankie Frisch. Like, there's a certain point at which amazing defense is not worth the trade-off of pretty good offense. Actually, of excellent offense, really. But we'll see what happens. What the heck is happening? Oh, literally the entire team, besides Bill Terry and Piet, have decided that offense is optional. Cool story, bro. Please don't do that during the regular season, but I don't really care if you're, like, bad right now. Alright. So who definitely goes back to the minors? George Playholder? No. I have a total of 16 pitchers. I at best need 12. So if we go Malone, Lee, Carlton, Clark, with Connolly out of the bullpen and Ocker taking the 5th starter spot, I think that gives us the best possible team. I mean, Pipgrass is a fine starter, too, as is Lefty Stewart. So I'm going to go ahead and designate... Do I just let Ocker pitch another season in the minors and let him work on his movement? I think that actually makes a ton of sense. And I've got enough other pitchers to easily fill out that back end of the rotation. So Ocker's going to go to the minors to work on his movement. Tinning and Smith can go to the minors. I'm at 13 players right now. I don't need as many starters as I have. Connolly won't take a demotion. I'm not demoting Lee. I mean, that's not even in the cards. And everyone here has pretty damn good stamina. So I've got a really top tier 4-man rotation. The problem is that Pipgrass is just better than Connolly. And I don't really want to lose Stewart, but I will waive him just to at least have a chance to keep him. And then this is fine for the rest of the roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll probably start Pipgrass over Connolly. In all honesty, I think Pipgrass is the better package. And then Connolly can be a mega reliever. So, okay. Pitching staff has essentially been set. I honestly think that 12 is probably too much. But I'm not going to stick with it. So we're going to go Malone, Carlton, Lee, Clark, Pipgrass. Connolly, emergency starter, long reliever. Bill Dietrich, long reliever, emergency starter. Fred Hymock, stopper. Seventh and no, I'm gonna do eighth and close game because we want to leave the ball in the hands of our starters as much as possible. And there we go. That's a pretty decent bullpen for this time period. I don't feel any particular compulsion to kick anybody out yet. So that's done. I still have 29 players, so I need to dispose of 4 more. So, I have way too many outfielders. That is an obvious and important truth. Phil Voiles, I'm just going to send you to the minors, and I'm not even going to hesitate doing that. I have too many outfielders. The question is, what gets me the best bang for my buck? I am going to send I think I can arguably get more production out of Carlisle and Swanson than I would out of Cook. So you're going to start the year in the minors. I still need to get rid of 3 more players. Now that I have Thief now, I don't really need McCann. So I'm going to designate him for assignment. I've got Frisch and Thief now to back up there. And then I've got Holliker, Cam, Piet, and Terry as my starters. I need to get rid of 1 more outfielder. And I gotta say, I like Mandy Brooks's raw power off the bench. However, because of the platooning issue, I really don't have another place to put. I can't afford to send down Stainback. If I do, I'll have nobody that can handle center in the majors other than Allen. And all it takes is an injury to Allen, and we're basically boned. So I think Brooks is just going to have to be a luxury that we do without. Because I need 2 backup infielders. I mean, unless I trade Holliker. Like, Thief now is a better shortstop right now. And if I can get something of value for Holliker, man. So if I traded Holliker just to keep... I wonder if Brooks would take a demotion. No, he won't. I wonder if Brooks would take... would get me, fetch me anything interesting in return. He really won't. Damn it. Look, literally nobody on this roster is even marginally competent at center field other than Allen and Steinbach. And Brooks isn't a good enough outfielder to play the outfield every day. He just isn't. He's very good for what he does, which is hit for power. But because the roster is 26 men, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to keep another pitcher. Connolly, no. Marbury. I'm going to go ahead and waive you. I can't afford to sacrifice the raw power that Brooks provides when he's the only power hitter I've got on my team. Other than Terry. And that's really what's holding us back, is we've got a ton of really good contact hitters. And Carlisle playing against lefties is going to help a lot. Or against righties is going to help a lot. But yeah. We're going to see how this works out for us. This new lineup construction. I do need to make sure that Steinbach makes the roster, as does Lee. And then I'm going to go ahead and advance to opening day. Player development. Hartnett improved a little bit. I forgot about his power. That was a silly thing for me to forget about. Alan, I really don't need you to start losing your center field defense. And Wildwood needs to not lose his offense. But whatever. Alright. So, we now need to set our lineup. Batting ratings. Yeah. Bill Terry's the number 3 hitter. It's not up for debate. It's just a thing that happens. Watwood remains the best choice for a leadoff man, I think. And then the question becomes, who becomes the number 2 hitter? Is it Piet or is it Allen? And they've got a lot of similarities, but there's a huge hole in Piet's game, in Allen's game rather. He doesn't have very good plate discipline. And we want to make sure that base runners 1 and 2 are getting on base as often as possible. And Piet has done it at ridiculously high clips since he's made the majors. So we're going to go ahead and make Piet the number 2. Hartnett is going to be the cleanup guy. And then we need to decide who hits 5th and who hits 6th. Ethan Allen's raw offensive output, even if he is just kind of a contact guy, is going to make him a very solid 5th place hitter. And then I think Roy Carlisle hits 6th. So we'll have a nice bit of... Oh, I forgot about Willie Cam. Oh, no, Watwood. I can't make you the leadoff guy. Cam's got to be the leadoff guy. So Watwood hits 5th, Carlisle hits 6th, and Allen hits 7th. And then the question becomes, who do I start? Do I start Holliker or do I start Thieve now? Holliker's the better hitter. There's not much question of that. Thieve now's the better shortstop. I think Holliker has played long enough to at least earn a start, but he may not be starting for much longer. Yes. Okay. Frankie boy, you are not starting every 5 games at second base, but I do like that you're at least willing to acknowledge that he shouldn't be starting all the time. Once a week for now, and then the Swanson Carlisle issue. Um, hmm. I want to play Carlisle at least initially because he's got more power. But Swanson might be the better hitter. We'll think about this. I think for now, every 5 games is enough. That gets Swanson plenty of at bats against left-handed pitching, but then he's also going to get every start against right-handed pitching, or vice versa. Sorry. So we're going to go paste and swap, and then if starter tired. Because Carlisle is really only good against right-handed pitching. I'm not even going to consider starting him against lefties. So I think this gives us the best combination of players. And we're going to see how this works out for us. Right now, in fact. We have a couple of options. What I like is there's built-in fail points here. There are players in this lineup that are very deliberately set up to be easy replacements. I have options, and I'm not going to say, and I will say that there's so much depth on this team that at most positions we could take an injury and not lose too much. Too much. Not saying it's perfect, and I'm certainly not going to guarantee a World Series victory or anything, but I do think that if we get the production I expect out of our lineup and out of our rotation, I think we're going to see a pretty successful season. I'd like to send all of you to the minors, please. So this is kind of what I was afraid of a little bit. Everyone is basically saying they would rather be released. I don't really want to release Stewart. I think he's very useful. But there's another issue, and that issue is I don't have a spot for him. Mr. Marbury, I will attempt to trade you. And I will throw in Mr. McCann, and we'll see what we can get offered. A decent DH. Mm, I'm just trying the different possible combinations to see where people are objecting. It's actually Marbury. Okay. Oh, interesting. You're much more useful as a reliever than you ever were as a hitter. I mean, Benny Frey is not worth $10,000, but I also don't really care because I've got a decent amount of money. Yeah, I will find you a spot on this roster. Yeah, Benny Frey is one of the best relievers in the major leagues. I will happily take him over, say, Collier. And then Marbury, I'm just going to release you. Marbury, you're going to be long relief, or Frey here is going to be long relief emergency starter. Got a lot of long men in this pen, but that's really what we need. Carlton did have an issue in his first start, but, you know, he's getting ready to do his second start. We'll see how that goes. Boom. Nope. I'm not giving up Waddy Clark. I don't have enough depth to surrender him just yet. The day may be coming relatively soon, but it's not coming yet. Bill Lee actually dipped a bit in a couple of ways. The moment Carlisle isn't able to hit for contact regularly is the moment that I need to find someone else to take the role. Like, this is a huge deal, right? Swanson's killing it. Yeah, my dude, you just basically torpedoed your own career, Mr. Carlisle. I ain't gonna carry you in the lineup, based on the fact that you someday might start hitting for power again, or might start hitting for contact again. I'm not gonna bench. I mean, I'm gonna bench you, but I'm not going to remove you. But I am gonna start Swanson every day, and your career as a starter may already be done. Um, Sorry, mate. That's what happens when your hitting takes a massive step back. Holliker, you're done. This is not acceptable. If you're not a top tier defensive shortstop, I can't carry your bat on this team. That sound you just heard is your career ending. I'm not saying that Tommy is a brilliant hitter, because he sure as shit isn't. But, yeah. Your time is done, my friend. I'm happy to give Thief now a chance to prove that he can hit averagely. So let's take a look at what's going well with the team, what's not going so well. One of the biggest surprises in a bad way is Johnny Watwood. But if we dig in a little bit, he's doing what he's meant to do, which is get on base at a pretty reasonable clip. I think maybe we need to bump both Swanson and Allen above him, though. And I think Watwood will eventually provide more value in time. Willie Cam, I'm not going to disturb you. I think you're doing what needs to be done, which is getting on base at a pretty high clip. Fine. But yeah, so that's the change we're going to make. Watwood clearly doesn't have what he used to have in terms of his ability to contribute at a high level. And while he's still getting on base, that's the only thing he's doing. So we're going to do that, and then Watwood can play a little bit lower in the lineup and just start trying to provide other contributions that will be of use to us. Okay, this all looks fine. All right, away we go, dear friends. Who from Stoll? Pat Malone, Fred Hymock, and that's it. That's disappointing, but I guess it's alright. Alright. How is... We still have very little staff cohesion. I'm going to let my first and third base coach walk. That should fix a lot of these issues. We need to find people that are not normal, I guess. Rip, I mean, you've put together brilliant pitching staffs. I'm not gonna let you go. You stay now. But yeah, I'll let both my base coaches walk, and then we'll just improve there as needed. Did I actually want to sign him to a new deal? I sure didn't. That was pretty dumb. And I will go ahead and re-sign you to an extension just for the lack of anyone to really replace you at the moment. But yeah, we're going to let... I might even promote like Jim Gilman. Might be somebody that could be good to call up to the majors. We'll see. Go fuck yourself, Cleveland. The other issue is Gabby Hartnett. His power is too important to bench him And he's still an excellent player at a premium position. This is not disputable. But his placement in the lineup is just going to keep causing us issues. So I'm going to look at batting stats. I'm going to look at isolated power. This is what I was afraid of. We don't really have a good power hitter other than Hartnett and Terry. I love Hartnett. But I have to imagine he's leaving people on base. Because he just doesn't make contact enough. I mean, he's going to hit. If he hits 170 hits, great. But if he's only getting 120, that's just not good enough. And all the power in the world isn't going to make up for the fact he's not getting on base. Alright. So let's take a look at some important stats here. We're going to look at expanded batting stats. I'm looking for a couple of specific things. Okay, he grounds into double plays a lot. He doesn't walk. His weighted on base average is garbage. He is hitting well below what we would expect from him, though, in terms of batting average on balls in play. In fact, this is criminally low, even compared to last season. Roy Carlisle is sad. Well, I'm sorry that you're sad, but them's the breaks. Okay, player development. Nothing too shocking here. I mean, Hartnett getting worse at contact isn't a good look. Alright. And Bill Terry's also getting worse, but I don't have any way to replace him, like, even remotely. What is your deal? Is the problem just that the rest of the league has gotten that much better? Because this is basically a carbon copy of your 1932 year when you were worth almost 5 wins. I think this is just a year for crazy offense. And so really, really good offense looks bad by comparison. Like, you're not a great first baseman, but you don't have to be. I mean, look at this. Howley is hitting almost freaking 400. Johnny Hodap is hitting almost 400. This is just a weird year in terms of offense. Which is fine. But it helps explain a little bit about why we're suffering, so to speak. The question is, can we fix any of our problems? And there's a couple solutions we could try. Like, Roy Carlisle doesn't serve a purpose. I'd rather have Dusty Cook riding the bench than Roy Carlisle. The problem is that nobody's offering quality talent for him. I get Lefty Grove back. You know, I'd almost rather have a player like a Frank Bauer who can give plus value off the bench and a pretty great bat than Carlisle, who can't even give me that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and trade for Bauer. Like, this isn't the kind of deal that's going to break anything, but it's a deal that's going to make all of our lives a little bit nicer. Stop, please. I don't know that I want Brower struggling at right field that frequently, but I guess I want to give him at least a shot. Because Watwood has merely been okay. And let's regenerate this depth chart. Yeah, I kind of don't mind Brower being a good bat off the bench, etc. I'm going to check really quickly. The trading block. Clear filter. No, Dick Porter can really only play first at this point. Like, the problem is that there's nobody here that would really make a dramatic improvement on the team. Alex Metzler would be pretty huge. Because I'd stick him in right field. And I think he'd be a better hitter at this point than Watt would. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to start by offering Watwood in return. And then if you want a crappy player, I'll take it. How about Dick Bartell? No. How about Babe Ruth? I could actually get Babe Ruth. No, you're 39. I'm going to take this trade, and I'm just going to ignore what you're saying, Waddy Lee. Or Brian Vargason. Because Metzler, I'm putting you in right. Which instantly increases your value pretty significantly. And you've got a really good, well-rounded bat that I think is going to really help our lineup. So then we're going to go Metzler. And then, yeah, that's what we'll do. And Metzler. And maybe once every 10 games. There we go. Why are you sad, Metzler? You went from St. Louis to St. Louis. You literally went like 10 miles. Man, you're weird, dude. Good old Frank Frankhouse. Okay, we can have roster expansion. Are any of my pitchers doing badly? I mean, Waddy Clark isn't doing amazingly, but he's doing fine. Like, to be perfectly honest, I don't know why we're not playing better. Yeah, you know what we're going to do? Swanson, it's not ideal, but I have to get Hartnett lower in the order. You know what? Hartnett, you're going to start batting 6th. I need to see your average come up. I can't support you hitting 230 and being in the middle of the lineup. In fact, I'm going to bat him 8th. And I know this seems really counterproductive because we're taking basically our best power hitter and sending him way down in the lineup. I don't care. I need just constant attacking so that, like, Cam doesn't get stranded. Or Piet doesn't get stranded. I mean, taking my ace and crippling him is not a nice thing to do. Auker, you get called up to the majors. I guess Connolly becomes the ace, and then Auker becomes the emergency starter. I mean, it is what it is. I can't really do a whole lot about that. That's alright, Frank. This is not alright. And there's really just nothing I can do about it. Like, let me be clear on this. Our team is fantastic. It's really, really good. But then you get a year like this where Howley hits 375. Like, this is basically what Gabby Hartnett was a couple seasons ago. A player has an out of his mind season, and we just can't compete with that. We don't have a player as good as Al Simmons because we don't have the combination of high average and power that they do. And yet we're still going to finish with high 80s, low 90s in wins. And short of a major injury to Pittsburgh, we just don't win a pennant this season. And that's fine. You're not going to win every season, but there's nothing I can do about that. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Excuse me. I mean, we could always go on a hot streak, right? It's always possible, but it's not likely. Like, I can try to juggle the lineup around, but short of some sort of catastrophic injury to Pittsburgh's players, I don't see it happening. Getting Pat Malone back is going to help a whole hell of a lot, though. That's undisputed. But the downside is going to be, of course, I've basically got 2 or 3 weeks. I face the tougher schedule. And perhaps most importantly, I don't think I play the Pirates. I have a 2-game series against Pittsburgh, but that's not likely to be good enough. So we'll see what happens, but it's pretty unlikely that we can expect to win the pennant this season. I mean, that's just a dick move game that you're going to randomly give him a herniated disc. Whatever. We finished 86 and 68. I don't know. I don't know what else we do. I just don't. Like, there is nothing that we did wrong. It's just Pittsburgh had a couple players that just started going like, I'm the greatest hitter in Major League history. Wait, why don't I have a bench coach? Oh, my bench coach must have retired. Interesting. Okay. Damn it, Jim Gilman. Your decision to retire annoys me. Personnel. Felix Chouinard is a perfectly fine AAA manager. Mr. Pastorius, you can be promoted to AA, and then I guess Kid can be promoted to High A. So I don't want anyone that's considered normal. Wilbur Murdoch, I would like to offer you a job as my first base coach. Bill Lindsay, I'd like to offer you a deal as my third base coach. And then I just need to find a quality bench coach. Man, curse your personality, Ed Taylor. Because you'd be perfect in a lot of ways. But I think Dick Carroll's even better for this team. For a very critical reason. I have a relatively old team, and I want to make sure that we have really good skill at that. So I'm going to offer you a job as my bench coach. I mean, Dick Carroll's not going to want that job. But George McBride might. Okay. So let's look at what went well and what didn't go well for the Cardinals. Ethan Allen, perfectly fine season. In most seasons, this is a top tier season, but in this case, it's merely very good. Tony Piet, another very good season. He's not a brilliant defender, but he's good enough. He gets a job done. Willie Cam, very solid season. A bit of a dip, but nothing too crazy. Bill Terry, you were better than you were in 1932. It is not your fault. The only thing that happened is that the rest of the league caught up with you. You're still the same player. Yeah. Ivar Swanson was a god-awful left fielder, but a decent hitter. Alex Metzler was actually... What? He was not below replacement level. Shut up. Oh, he's below replacement level for the Browns. That makes sense. No, it wasn't. He was below replacement level for me. Metzler did not contribute down the stretch. That was bad timing, my dude. I think he'll be better in the long run, but yeah. Mandy Brooks, there's only so much I can do to keep a player when he only has one skill. You're done. You're done. Thief Now was fine. He wasn't fantastic, but he was fine. And I can take fine. We just didn't have anybody have a big year. This is really the crux of what happened this season. We didn't have the super massive year that we used to be able to count on. And I don't know where that player comes from, quite frankly. Because we're not going to get that kind of player in trade, and I don't think we're going to be bad enough in the draft to need one. Pitching wise, I'm sad that Pat Malone got hurt, but Carlton was great, Lee was great, Clark was good, Pip Gross, probably time to let Walker have the 5th rotation spot. But yeah, we got excellent pitching again. And we have a very good defense. We just keep running into the same issue, which is that... You know what? It's not even about an issue that we ran into. We just got really unlucky in a lot of ways. Now, that actually says that we got lucky, and we should have actually finished like 4th in the division. But here's what's important to note. This only is based on runs scored versus runs allowed. That's what they determined this on. Pittsburgh's, frankly, redonkulous offense this season was driven by players having insanely good seasons that had never had seasons that good before. Like Hal Lee, this is a fluke. That's the technical term for it. That all of a sudden he goes from a hitter around 300 to a hitter around over 350. That's insane. Let's take a look at Glenn Wright. Look, he jumps up 60 points. Has a crazy season. Let's look at our old friend Johnny Hodap. Look at that, 30 points better. Although, admittedly, he was better in the past. But Lee and Wright coming out of freaking nowhere to hit basically MVP levels of offense is why Pittsburgh won the pennant. And I'm not saying that to criticize them or to say that they're a bad team, because they're not. But literally the reason that they won the pennant and I didn't is that they had these two just stupidly, insanely good seasons, and I had none of those insanely good seasons. I had very good seasons. I got really quality performance from a lot of different players, but I don't have superstars at the moment. And I frankly don't know where we're going to find them either. And this is the challenge of a team that actually contributes day in and day out. Is that you just don't have those players. I'm not saying we never will have those players, but I'm saying that there's just not an easy way to find a megastar. And so yeah, I really don't think we need to change our approach. The core of this team is excellent. And it may not have megastars, but it definitely has stars. And the fact that a couple people on a team in our division, like 3 people, just started hitting insanely well, is something I can really predict or plan for. It just happened. We still finished 4th in runs scored and 4th in runs against. Could it have been better? Sure. But it certainly wasn't bad. So we need to find something to get ourselves pushed over the brink. And maybe a full year of Swanson and Allen and Metzler in the heart of the order is going to matter. Gabby Hartnett eventually did start hitting better. But, I mean, he's good at a premium position. I mean, he's a borderline Hall of Famer already. And especially if he breaks 2,000 hits, I think you're going to have a very difficult case for saying he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. I know he's never won a Gold Glove, but he's won multiple Silver Sluggers. I think he's a Hall of Famer or darn close to it. Even if he never had a huge peak, he's been very consistently good for a very, very long time. Fantastic. But we don't have the young, uber-talented offensive star. I mean, Tony Piette's pretty good. He's also already 27. So, I don't know. We'll figure something out. We're going to find a way to make this lineup work. And I think we need to find a consistent source of power. I just have no freaking clue where we find that. No idea. Those kinds of players don't grow on trees. I don't know what's going on with Bill Terry. Yes, he wasn't as good as he was in 1933. But in a lot of ways, he was damn close. So yeah, I don't know what happened to him. Again, I think this is just... It's not that he got worse, it's that replacement level got higher. The league as a whole got better. And he simply slid? No. Yeah, I guess it is slid. Slud. He went backwards. He reversed relative to the rest of the league. And it is what it is. We've got a damn fine rotation. We've got a very strong core. I'd love to bottom out one season. Just completely and utterly shit the bed so I could get an elite level hitter. Because that's pretty much the way it's going to happen. But you know, we're a good team. A very good team. And we'll have to see what happens as we continue with the Cardinals. Until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.